Hello, editing me here. I have tried to film this portion so many times now, I'm at the point where it's like, why am I doing this? What is the point? And really, I feel like this is a perfect display of my insecurity because every video I have, I'm pretty sure I've apologized for, my skills filming or my editing, my lack of editing, stuff like that. But it's like, I feel like at a certain point it gets annoying. That said, I cannot help myself, so I'm gonna apologize for stuff now. Obviously, this video is long. I don't necessarily apologize for that, but it is very choppy and I butt in a lot because there were a lot of points where I just forgot what I was gonna say. And I needed to fill the gap. There were things that I wanted to add in that I thought of after filming, stuff like that. And then I also say and constantly. And even though I have put my best effort into getting rid of a lot of them, and truly I have gotten rid of a lot of them in this video, there are still a ton. So I apologize for that, and maybe nobody would have noticed had I not said anything, but oh well, I said something. I still wanted to post this because I felt like the stuff I talked about was important in the context of really my channel as a whole, but also the videos that I would like to film and post coming up. Who knows if they'll actually be put up or even filmed, but we will see. I am not particularly happy with how this came out. I mean, as mentioned, I'm very frustrated with how this part is going, but I tried my best with editing. I have an iPhone 6S, and that's what I have to edit on. My laptop is 10 years old, and it just constantly crashes, so I just cannot edit on that. So I'm doing what I can. So yeah, I apologize. There's probably really no need for an apology. And really, I'm just making this longer and probably more boring. Oh well. Alright, I guess enjoy the show. Hi, today is April 29th, 2022, and it's been a couple days since I've posted, but I have filmed 3 videos, I believe, and I don't think I'm gonna post any of them. The first one, I was actually doing my makeup to get ready and just kind of talking about some things that happened, which I think I'll talk about here. But the second one, it was another day, and I, for some reason, got the motivation to organize all my nail stuff because I do my own nails as a hobby, and I also went to school for it, so I've got a ton of stuff for that. And I filmed myself doing it because there are plenty of people who, film themselves cleaning and stuff, but it was and I had planned to speed the footage up, but it was 3 or 4 hours, I think, of me just sitting there, and a lot of it was just me staring at it because it was just so overwhelming because I wanted things to be in a specific category, and just the containers I had weren't meshing well. But I ultimately figured it out. I just decided to delete the footage because it was just way too much. And then the third video, I wasn't feeling too hot, and I just talked a little bit about what I was feeling. So in the first video, I mentioned essentially losing somebody. The night before, I had stayed up really late because I was talking to somebody that said some very alarming things to me, and this is a person that I care a lot about, but just the things that were said morally did not sit right with me. And this, my relation to them is complicated. It makes cutting off contact complicated. And I don't want to cut off contact, but I know right now that's what needs to happen. But there are just a ton of complications with that. It was particularly upsetting because it had to do with things that, frankly, I have a lot of trauma around, I guess. Just really affirming some things that really affect me quite deeply. And I guess because I don't know, like this was another topic I wanted to talk about, which is I don't know how much I can share or should share. Honestly, I want to go back through my other videos and see if I've said anything that, um, maybe I shouldn't have. I've tried to be kind of vague. There are things that I mean, there are people in my life. Each person is obviously affected by the people in their life. So it's like I'm here telling my story, the things that I'm feeling, going through this process of trying to heal, I guess. And other people are part of that story, and there are people that were in my life that I feel comfortable talking about and giving information about because um, they can't care. I'll just put it that way. And then there's like information like around that situation where I'm just not comfortable sharing it right now. Where I could, like, I don't think it would be a negative thing to say, but I don't. I'm just not ready for it. And then, there are people that are currently in my life, or there are people who may be affected by it. I don't know how this whole YouTube thing works. It's kind of funny because I feel like the people I watch, the idea that they had a social media presence before becoming a YouTuber is just strange to me. And I mean, I don't consider myself a YouTuber, but if I were to ever be one, I guess having this experience of being on the internet for so long, but not having that big of a presence is just like a new concept and experience to me. But yeah, so I'm just trying to figure that out. Um, and I also don't want to say anything that, like, would come back to bite me for some reason. There's also like the piece of vulnerability where, if I open up about certain things, even if I don't think they would like affect my future in any way, um, I'm opening myself up to, you know, anyone who watches this can say whatever they want. And I've talked about how I'm very sensitive on this channel, and I think in my last video I talked about how now that I've gotten at least a view on something, it's kind of like scary. It's like, okay, somebody's actually watching this. People are actually hearing me talk. And like I mentioned, like I just want to delete everything. Um, but of course, I post this stuff on here, and I continue to post knowing that people are going to have the opportunity to see, they're going to have the opportunity to comment. It's just, I need to be careful and conscious about what I say and what I am and am not ready to hear other people's comments about. And my boyfriend and I, like, he knows that this channel exists, but he doesn't know the name, and I don't want to give it to him because I'm still I'm shy, I'm embarrassed about it. Which is another reason why, like, seeing that people are seeing me is weird. Like, the idea of somebody I know seeing these videos is just horrifying to me. Alright, at this point I completely forgot what I was saying, and I paused trying to think, and then I say something that I thought related to what I was saying, but it didn't really. So here's me remembering what I was gonna say. Oh, I was talking I was talking about my boyfriend. My boyfriend knows about this channel, and we've talked about how it might be a good idea in the future, if I ever do start getting like actual views regularly and actual comments, that he should be the one to read them to me, because negative comments can have a really bad impact on my mental health. And that is something I want to work on. My sensitivity, I guess some people could see that as like enabling, but I want to be realistic in where I'm at. I don't want to harm myself trying to grow. It's like I kind of have to take baby steps. But now that the idea that people are seeing these things is a little bit more realistic, it's like I'm not ready to show him these videos. And of course, you would have to see if you were going to like read my comments and everything. And then I also have to prevent myself from going through the comments, which is very difficult for me. Um, like assuming I get comments and everything. Um, but yeah, so there are things that I definitely want to talk about that are going on in my life currently, that are affecting my growth or my lack thereof. Things that I'm allowing to affect me. I have to be careful with what I say, and this interaction that I had with this person is just very, very complicated. And, like, I guess I'll just say that it had to do with. We were essentially having the conversation of not all men, except I was on the side of not all men. This person was insisting that all men do something that is morally incorrect, and I can't believe that. For my own mental health, I cannot believe that, because when my emotional side that does actually believe that, when that takes over, it just is so disheartening. I feel hopeless. And unfortunately, in my life, I've had consistent experiences backing this up. And with that, I want to add that I do try to remind myself that my experience is not representative of the whole, meaning that I understand that even though I've experienced something repeatedly, it doesn't mean that's how it's been for everyone, everywhere. It wasn't just them saying that, like, all men do it. It was, implying that they themselves are okay with that, which I can't do. I don't know. It was really hard. And then, there are other people in my life where I found things out about them through, like, social media, so it was public information, but, like, they didn't tell me, which is fine. Like, we don't talk often, so, like, I get it, but the thing that I found out just, like, held a ton of weight, and it kind of sent me down a mini spiral, but it was kind of short. I feel it's worth noting that I call it a spiral because a lot of the feelings that I'm about to mention really, like, they go on tangents, essentially. They're not really very obviously connected to the original topic. But I'm left feeling very lonely because of it. I'm left feeling very, like, frankly pathetic, because I feel like I'm 23 and I'm friendless. I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I have the goal. My biggest goal with this is I would like to be able to start doing art on the channel, and then possibly sell my art. That would be fantastic, but it also feels so far away, which is pretty devastating for me. Pretty much the only social media I use is YouTube. I used to go on Reddit a lot, but that started being really negative for me. Instagram, I stopped going on, like, I think over 2 years ago. I go on every once in a blue moon, and I try not to go on for more than, like, 20 minutes, because as soon as I do, I immediately am like, how did I do this every day? How did I put myself through this every day? It's such an awful feeling. But recently, and it's kind of the same with Facebook, but recently I was on Instagram, and, I have my account, and I do have, like, people I follow, and a lot of them are art pages who sell their art, and there were people who said, like, it's their full-time job, and they really, I think they had less than 100,000 subscribers, which, from what I've seen on YouTube, followers on Instagram, from what I've seen on YouTube, is not, I guess, atypical. It's not completely unrealistic, and if I could start putting more effort into content and actually shift this into what I want it to be, I probably could, but as I'm sure it's obvious by now, just a lot of things I struggle with. At this point, I realized that the sun was setting, so I woke my laptop up, and that's why the lighting is about to change so drastically. It gave me a little bit more hope despite being like jealous. I was, happy that people get to do that because I think I've talked about how happy it makes me for people to be able to sell their art and share their art. And I just want to be able to do that. So it was a little bit of positivity that I got out of that experience. I kind of lost track of what I was saying, so I looked at my notes that I typed up on my laptop, kind of trying to find the next thing I wanted to talk about. Talking about privacy, I guess I'll go back to that. Another thing that the third video I filmed, something I talked about was times where I have memories pop up, and I do feel like triggered is an accurate word. With the basic definition of it, it's like I saw something, I heard something, and it reminded me of a specific memory that is quite traumatic for me. And this happens constantly to varying degrees. And this particular thing, I don't know how, I don't know why it was triggered, and that happens a lot where I'm watching something, listening to something, and for some reason, like, I can't even identify the trigger. I'm usually aware of that, but there are some things where it's just like something in this piece of media definitely triggered this, but I don't know what. So that happened, and it was just a memory that is particularly hard to think about, and it's like I want to talk about it. I've always had this need to talk about what I'm going through, and I don't know why. I have this need to be understood, and I am like very paranoid about the language that I use and whether or not people understand me. And when I was a kid, I was online a lot, and I definitely said way too much about what was going on. But I also know that I didn't really have anybody to talk to that I felt safe to talk to, I guess. I guess another thing that complicates this is I don't know what I'm looking for exactly when I talk about it. Something I'm aware of is I would post it, and I'm posting this stuff. For a long time it was Tumblr, and then it was Instagram. I would post these things, and just knowing that somebody read it, I didn't need them to respond, but just knowing somebody read it. And I guess it was a platform where there wasn't disappointment if they didn't respond, because it's like if you're texting somebody or sitting face to face talking to somebody and you pour your heart out and they don't say anything, it's like, yeah, it's kind of hurtful, it's upsetting. But also I found that whenever I was in that setting, anything anyone would say would just be disappointing because I didn't know what I wanted. But yeah, this just goes back to the concept of how much should I share? This traumatic memory involves other people, and it kind of is vital to explain the relationship I had to these people. But, these are people that I don't want to say too much about, if that makes any sense. Yeah. That's just talking about that has actually kind of taken a lot out of me. But today, my boyfriend is going to some sort of like anime, like Marvel convention, and he's got like friends from work, and it's funny because like I complained to him about the fact that I have no friends, and he's like, do you want to trade? Because he enjoys being alone, where I miss having friends. So I'm happy for him because I want him to have friends, even though he prefers being alone. I feel like it's good for him to have friends, but it's also like I feel lonely, and I don't expect him to, or need him to spend all of his time with me. the way I've explained it, like, even to him, is like, I have a friendship shaped hole in me, and he is not the person to fill that. So it's like, even if he could spend all of his time with me, it wouldn't be exactly what I'm looking for, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I've been feeling lonely, and today I woke up really late because I was up really late last night. And it just, I don't know. I feel like I'm waiting for something, to find something that would make me motivated. Like, I'm very aware that there are some things that you have to just do, but at the end of the day, like, you have to have the motivation to just do it. You can't just do it. Like, that's not how that works. And I don't have the motivation to just do it. Um, my personal hygiene is, I'm like embarrassed by it. See, like, yeah, this is embarrassing to say, but I'll just say it anyways. Um, it's brushing my teeth that I, for some reason, just can't do. Um, I I shower regularly and stuff, but for some reason it's just brushing my teeth. And it's funny because when I first moved out of my dad's house, I I started flossing, I started using my water pick, I started using mouthwash and brushing my teeth every morning and night. And when I was a kid, personal hygiene was not enforced. So as I've grown into an adult, I've had to teach myself how to do that. Um, and just lacking energy and motivation for anything, for some reason, just brushing my teeth is so hard. It's just like standing there and doing nothing, nearly nothing, for 2 minutes is really difficult because I have an electric toothbrush that times me. Um, I mean, you know, there's been nights where I'm like, okay, just don't do the full 2 minutes, just like at least do it. But there are also nights where I'm like, okay, you're just gonna use mouthwash tonight. I feel disgusting because of it, but it's just where I'm at. I just showered. I didn't wash my hair because I washed my hair yesterday. I shaved, which I didn't get a chance to do yesterday, and I did the whole tooth routine. Part of me feels like I want like a tooth mask where it makes your teeth feel nice and fresh, kind of like face masks. The thing about my teeth is I have braces, obviously, and I hate them. They make my teeth so difficult to clean. It's really, really annoying, and I think that just adds another like burden to it, I guess. Um, I showered and I shaved, I brushed my teeth, I washed my face, and I guess I wanted it to motivate me to do something, but it just doesn't. And I don't even know that I feel that much better. You know, like yesterday I showered, so like I was clean, but I guess I wake up in this mood and I just automatically feel gross, and the word unmotivated just keeps coming up, but like gross and like useless, I guess. I don't know. That doesn't feel like the right word, but that's the word I'm using. And it's like, I did it at like 7 p.m. Like, the sun is setting, as I mentioned. So it's like my night really should be ending soon. Excuse me, because like I want to fix my sleep schedule, but it's just like I feel like I have to take melatonin like right now. It's 8:40, and I feel like I should just take melatonin and go to sleep really early so I can wake up really early, but it's like, am I going to do anything with that? There was a time where I used to get up early and that used to motivate me to do a bunch of stuff, and I felt really good about it. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Um, and it's not that I don't want to get better, because I really do. Um, I guess I've always had I want to say philosophy that in order to fix something, you have to know what's wrong. And I've spent so much time, trying to fix myself. And I've done a lot of that. Like, I am a semi functioning human being in that I can go to work and pay my bills. And that's about it. um, but that is considered like functioning. But I'm still not doing the things that I want to do. Once again, I totally lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, so fixing things. I've fixed myself to a certain degree, but it's like now there's not that urgency because I'm somewhat functioning. It's kind of like, I don't know, if your car breaks down and it's a piece of junk, but if you fix this one thing, it can do its job, but it doesn't do its job well. And I kind of feel like that, but I don't have the energy to figure out what's wrong. I should say that I don't have the energy to figure out what's really wrong with the car, like the bigger issue, or the energy or the resources to get a new car altogether. But I desperately want to figure out what's wrong. It's more, I don't know how. I'm lost when, I open up the hood and I look at all of these chunks of metal and it's like I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm in therapy, but we spend most of our time doing like talk therapy, which in some way is effective because of what I've explained earlier. Like, I appreciate being able to just talk about things, but I think processing trauma and stuff has been much more valuable to me. But I'm at a point where it's like, I'm struggling right now with things. I feel that where I'm at, it's not because I'm upset with my past necessarily. It's because I don't know what I'm doing right now. And I don't know how to get up and do the things that I want to do right now. I guess I kind of feel like a loser. And, that plays into being embarrassed of people seeing these videos. But at the same time, I feel like this ultimately could be a good thing. I don't know. I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. This was a bit of a longer video, but oh well.